Good day everyone. Good day sir. I am Engine Cadet Rosal Bernabe Jr. Before we start our presentation, I would like you to know that this is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor Mr. Roldan Ardenes to use this as an educational material.
Belief system and spirituality are deeply personal, can vary greatly from person to person. They encompass a wide range of beliefs, practices, and values that individuals hold regarding the nature of existence, the meaning of life, and their connection to something greater than themselves. Belief system refer to the organized set of principles, doctrines, or teaching that individuals or communities adhere to. This can include religion beliefs, philosophical framework, or cultural tradition. Belief system provide a foundation for understanding the world, shaping moral values, and guiding behavior. Spirituality, on the other hand, is more individualistic and subjective experience. It involves seeking a deeper connection with oneself, others, and the universe. Spirituality often encompasses practices such as meditation, prayer, mindfulness, and reflection. It focuses on personal growth, self-discovery, and finding meaning and purpose in life. Both belief system and spirituality can provide individuals with a sense of identity, purpose, and comfort. They can offer guidance and navigating life challenges, fostering a sense of community and belonging, and providing a framework for ethical decision-making. These systems and practices can also offer solace, hope, and sense of transcendence in times of difficulty or loss. It is important to recognize that belief system and spirituality are deeply personal, can vary widely among individuals and culture. Respect for diverse beliefs and practices is essential in fostering understanding and promoting harmony among people with different perspectives.
Indigenous language and scripts are essential components of the world linguistic and cultural diversity. These languages are spoken by indigenous peoples, often in the specific regions or territories, and they represent centuries of rich cultural heritage and traditional knowledge. So under the indigenous language are its cultural significance, linguistic diversity, threats to survival, and revitalization efforts. So the cultural significance, indigenous languages are deeply intertwined with the cultural identity and heritage of their respective communities. They serve as vehicles of transmitting oral histories, traditional knowledge, and cultural practice from one generation to the end. So about the linguistic diversity, indigenous languages exhibit a remarkable diversity in terms of phonetics, grammar, and vocabulary. They often reflect unique perspectives on the natural worlds, spatial structures, and spiritual belief. Threats to survival. Despite their importance, many indigenous languages are endangered due to factors such as globalization, urbanizations, language discrimination, and government policies favoring dominant language. This poses a risk of linguistic and cultural homogenizations. Revitalization efforts. Efforts to revitalize indigenous language include community based language programs, intergenerational language transmission, individuals language documentation projects, and the development of educational materials in indigenous language. So about the indigenous scripts, along with the indigenous scripts are its preserving cultural identity, revival and promotion challenges, and cultural empowerment. Preserving cultural identity, indigenous scripts play a crucial role in preserving and promoting the cultural identity of indigenous communities. They embody unique system of writing that reflect that worldview, values, and linguistic features of their respective language. Revival and promotion. In cases, indigenous scripts has faced marginalization or suppression due to colonialism or cultural assimilation policies. However, efforts are under to revive and promote the scripts through education, cultural initiatives, and digital technology. So about the challenges in the revival and promotion of indigenous scripts include limited resources and absence of standard orthographies and the need of community involvement and support.
So my topic is traditional of arts and crafts. Philippines is one of the most famous countries in the world because of its various, unique, featured, and standardized. They practice indigenous culture and tradition are practice of cultural groups that share collective and ancestral ties to a nation, lands, and natural resources. Philippines' traditional arts and crafts are well known across the nation through its unique and popular ways to make it an art. Filipinos are very creative and resourceful. They made plenty of handicrafts and handmade bags. Pottery is one of the most essential forms of arts in the Philippines, just using the bare hands, clay, and hardened with heat. Also, the Philippines has a beautiful basketry, famously known in Palawan. It was constructed from bamboo and rattan that was genuinely made by ancestors and to now generations. Just like Igorot tribes, metalwork in iron and brass, weaving in animal sacrifice. The significance of this valuable cultural heritage and traditional practice has been proven to contribute to the sustainability and productivity of our land, more especially to our country, which is the Philippines.
Indigenous rituals and ceremonies plays a central role in many indigenous cultures, serving various purposes such as spiritual connection, community bonding, and marketing significant life events. These ceremonies often involve dance, storytelling, chanting, and the use of traditional symbols and artifacts. Example includes rite of passage. These ceremonies to mark a transitions in life such as birth, coming of age, marriage, and death. Harvest and seasonal celebration. These rituals to honor and give thanks for bounty of the land, often tied to agriculture cycles. Spiritual ceremonies. Sacred ritual to commune with ancestors, spirits, or deities, often involving prayer, offerings, and purification rituals. Healing ceremonies. Rituals aimed to restoring balance and well-being, often involving traditional medicine, energy work, and spiritual guidance. Ceremonies for environmental stewardship. rituals to promote respect for natural world and ensure sustainable interaction with the environment. Ceremonies for conflict resolution, rituals to address conflicts within communities and restore harmony, often involving mediation, apology, and forgiveness. These rituals and ceremonies are integral in indigenous cultures, helping to maintain cultural identity, transmit traditional knowledge, and foster a sense of belonging and unity within indigenous communities.
Pre-colonial societies refer to the diverse range of cultures, civilizations, and social structures that existed in various parts of the world before the arrival and influence of European colonial powers. These societies varied greatly in terms of their social, political, and economic organizations, as well as their cultural practice and technological advancements. Here are some notable characteristics and examples from different regions. Advantage: sustainability. Many pre-colonial societies had sustainable ways of living that were closely tied to their natural environments. They developed techniques for agriculture, hunting, and gathering that allowed them to thrive without overexploiting their resources. Disadvantage: technological limitation. While innovative in many ways, pre-colonial societies often lacked the technological advancements of their colonial counterparts, which could limit their ability to defend against colonization or expand their own territories. That's all.
Indigenous resistance and revolts. Throughout history, indigenous communities have exhibited remarkable resilience in the face of oppression, asserting their rights, autonomy through various forms, resistance and revolts. This explanation a case of examples of indigenous resistance, shedding light on profound struggles these communities wage against colonialism, exploitation, and cultural erasure. One of the powerful example of Indian rebellion. One of the powerful example is the Indian Rebellion of 1857, also known as Sepoy Mutiny, which is reverberated across India, fueled by the grievances against British rule and use of incentives, cultural practices. Indigenous soldiers known as sepoys rose in rebellion. This uprising to ultimately surprise mark significant moment defined against colonial oppression and showed the seeds of future independence movement. In the Americas, the ghost dance movement emerged in the late 19th century. The Native Americans tribes, driven by the vision of claiming ancestral lands of return, traditional ways of life. This spiritual movement became a symbol of resistance against the assimilation and cultural suppression. While the movement did not achieve it is a vision goals exemplified by the indigenous communities determined to preserve their identity, resist external pressures.
Good day everyone. My name is Indian Cadet Rosal Bernabe. So my topic is colonial impact and cultural assimilation. Colonial impact refers to the effect or consequence brought about by colonization, which can include changes, governance, economy, social structures, and cultural practices within a society or community. Cultural assimilation refers to the process by which individuals or groups adopt the cultural traits, norms, and values of another culture as a result of prolonged contact or influence, such as through colonizations. This can involve changes in language, religion, customs, traditions, and other cultures aspects. Colonial impact and cultural assimilation. Describe how colonization can lead to significant changes in the culture and identity of society as it adapts aspects of colonizing culture while also experiencing various social, economic, and political transformations. So there are examples of colonial impact and cultural assimilation. First is language. When a country is colonized, the colonizers often introduce their language as the official language, leading to changes in communications and education. Like for example, English became widely spoken in India during British colonization. Second is food. Colonization introduced new foods and cooking techniques to a region. For instance, the production of spices from Asia to Europe during colonial times influenced Europeans' cuisine. The third is clothing. Colonial powers often imposed their fashion style on the indigenous population. Like for example, Western clothing like suits and dresses become fashionable in colonized countries due to European influence. The fourth is religion. Colonization can result in the spread of colonizers' religion among the indigenous population. For instance, Christianity spread to many parts of Africa during European colonization.
Good evening, sir. So my topic is about environmental stewardship and sustainability. So environmental stewardship and sustainability in indigenous land and resources rights involve the responsible and ethical management of natural resources on indigenous lands. It emphasizes a holistic approach that integrates ecological, social, and cultural considerations. For indigenous communities, environmental stewardship often aligns with their traditional knowledge and practices, focusing on maintaining a balance between human activities and nature. Sustainability in this context involves ensuring that current generations meet their needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Respecting indigenous land and resources rights means recognizing and upholding their sovereignty over their territories. It involves acknowledging traditional ecological knowledge, practices, and the unique connection indigenous communities have with their environment. Collaboration and inclusive decision-making processes are essential to achieving environmental sustainability with respecting indigenous rights. That's all. Thank you.
My topic is about challenges in land disputes and exploitation. Land dispute and exploitation pose significant challenges globally, often rooted in historical, political, and socio-economical factors. Here are some key issues and challenges associated with the land disputes and exploitation. First is historical injustice. Many land disputes stem from historical injustice such as colonization, forced displacement, and unequal land distribution, which continue to fuel conflict and grievance. Second is lack of clearing and land rights. Ambiguous or undocumented land rights leads to dispute among communities, individuals, and governments, especially in areas where customary land tenure system clash with formal legal frameworks. Third is weak governance and corruption. So poor governance, corruption, and lack of transparency in land administration exacerbate disputes and facilitate land grabbing and exploitation by powerful individuals, corporations, or governments. Fourth is urbanization and land use changes. Rapid urbanization and challenges in land use patterns often result in conflict over land between rural and urban populations, as well as competition for valuable resources such as water, mineral, and forest. Fifth is environmental degradation. Exploitive practices such as deforestation, mining, and industrial agriculture contribute to environmental degradation, loss of biodiversity, and depletion of natural resources, leading to conflict over land and its sustainable use. Sixth is marginalized communities. Indigenous people, ethnic minorities, and marginalized communities are particularly vulnerable to land grabbing, displacement, and exploitation, as they often lack legal protection and face discrimination or violence. Seventh is inadequate legal frameworks. Weak or inadequate legal frameworks, including land tenure laws and property rights, fail to inadequate protect vulnerable population and regulate land transaction, leaving them to susceptible to exploitation and disposition. Addressing these challenges requires comprehensive approaches that prioritize social justice, environmental sustainability, and inclusive governance. They may be involved complementing land reforms, strengthening legal and institutional frameworks, promoting community participant and empowerment, and fostering dialogue and conflict resolution mechanism. Additionally, sustainable land management practices and inadequate access to resources are essential for ensuring long-term well-being communities and ecosystems affected by land disputes and exploitation. Thank you.
Indigenous ecological knowledge encompasses the deep understanding, practices, and wisdom that indigenous communities have developed over generations to interact with and sustain their local ecosystem. This knowledge is embedded in the cultural, spiritual, and social fabric of indigenous society. Providing a holistic perspective of environment, here's a key of indigenous ecological. First of all, the holistic perspective, sustainability practices, biodiversity understanding, climate and weather insight, ethnobotanical wisdom, cultural and spiritual connections, local wisdom in resource use, adaptation to environmental change, and last of all, recognizing the value of indigenous ecological knowledge is vital for fostering biodiversity conservation, sustainable development, and addressing global environment challenges. It highlights the importance of knowledge and respecting the diverse ways in which different cultures perceive and interact with the natural world. And that's all. Thank you.